Donald Trump crashed out on Easter, y'all. As you enter the broadcast, make sure y'all get the likes up. So it looks like our president took the Truth Social and put out a profane, violent message. And it seems that he's cracking at the seams, y'all. Personally, I don't like how this looks. I don't know why anybody would be comfortable with the commander-in-chief acting the way he's acting, especially on their so-called holidays. But you know, as they say, no rest for the wicked. So when he took the Truth Social, he posted, Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one. In Iran, there will be nothing like it. Open the effing straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. That's what he told them. Now, it doesn't seem like he has much composure, y'all. He's receiving a lot of backlash, even from Americans, because although Easter's a pagan holiday, most Americans view it as something sacred. And a message like that on a day where most Americans are trying to spend time with family and feel safe, it just doesn't bode well. And there's a reason for this right now. See, America is really losing momentum at the moment. Things are going downhill. And leadership, they're showing just how uncomfortable they are as well. Now, just last week, Trump was saying we had enough oil. We didn't need the Strait of Hormuz. Y'all remember that? How many of y'all remember Trump said that just last week? That we didn't need the Strait of Hormuz. And now he's ranting and raving like a lunatic, like a man on fire, talking about open the effing strait. That means somebody's losing money. Some of his billionaire friends aren't too happy. Some of his constituents and peers are losing millions. That's what's happening. So the orange man is crashing out. And we're going to get into this because y'all know how we do. We're going to get into some meat and potatoes and go into the scriptures of what's really going on in Babylon. Or we're going to get to it. Y'all know we do these deep dives and we bring everything together and we make it make sense, because it seems like right now the inmates are running the asylum. So, you know, get your popcorn ready, get your libations. Y'all already know how we do. Make sure y'all interactive in the chat. We about to turn up with this knowledge. Let's get to it.
They working against us. They hate our souls. They hate us. They hate our righteous indignation. They hate the exhortation that dwells in us. They hate our love for the They hate our conviction. They hate the fact that we repented. They hate the fact that we're truthful, honest, and bold. They hate our courage. Them devils hate us. We're not finna line ourselves up with these weirdos and freaks. With these weirdos and freaks. They working against us. They hate our souls. weirdos and freaks. But these weirdos and freaks, they working against us. They hate our souls. New breed.
Ephesians 6:10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord, and in the power of his might put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints.
Welcome back. So Trump is crashing out, y'all. He's losing his mind. And it's not looking too good.
President Trump is scheduled to hold a news conference on the war with Iran, and a big focus is expected to be on that stunning Easter Sunday social media post in which the president decided to write, quote, "Open the bleeping straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah." And just moments ago, Trump gave his thoughts on voters who question his strategy.
So Trump, he went on a Mike Tyson style rant. He told Iran what he was going to do. He said Tuesday would be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the effing straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. Damn, on Easter? President Donald J. Trump. Y'all remember that fight when Mike Tyson was like, "I'm Jack Dempsey. He's no conqueror. I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the greatest. Praise be to Allah." Yeah, somebody said it. Did Donald Trump get fined of Joe Biden's stash, Hunter Biden's stash? Like, what is going on with Donald Trump right now? This is a crash out. The American citizens cannot feel comfortable right now. You know, this strikes me as when somebody is scared to fight, so they got to peacock and seem more bright and colorful than they are. And they got to get extra loud, like, when somebody get in an altercation and they really don't want to fight, they really want somebody to hold them back. So they get extra loud. You lucky he's holding me back loud, but really don't want to do nothing. You know, that's the type of vibes I'm getting right now. That's what type of vibes I'm getting. I mean, look, make something shake. Man is losing his damn mind. If you're going to do it, do it.
In Iran.
What do you say to Americans who are not a fan of the war?
They're foolish because the war is about one thing. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
Joining us now, Democratic strategist Julie Rosensky here in the studio with me.
Now, look, they already all smiles. Ain't nobody taking Trump serious. That's why they cheesing like that. Nobody's taking the man serious, y'all. Hold on.
And former advisor to Republican House Speaker John Boehner, Maura Gillespie. So, Maura, to you first here. This is not the first time the president has used crass language, but the timing on Easter, and particularly what he said invoking Allah, that is raising a lot of eyebrows. His approval rating is deeply underwater. And while the MAGA base may love this kind of rhetoric, what about independent voters or even more moderate Republicans?
Exactly. You know, his approval rating is in the dumpster right now. You know, Trump might be the worst president in U.S. history. I'm just going to call it like it is and how I see it. And, you know, I want to make something very, very clear. I want y'all to hear me out with this. You know, this isn't just some ordinary political conversation that Trump posted. Like, you know, this is outside of the ordinary, very, very different. That type of energy posted on their so-called holiday is strange, you know. He's threatening to hit power plants. He's threatening to hit bridges and infrastructure if Iran doesn't reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Look, he's labeling a potential strike day. You know, he said Iran is going to be living in hell if they don't comply. And he also set a deadline by Tuesday night. He using aggressive, profane language publicly. First of all, what president have ever done this? I want y'all to think about that. What president of the United States have ever been this irresponsible? On Easter, he gives a direct military threat. It's unfiltered. It happens on Easter. That's symbolic, by the way. All of the lawmakers in America are calling it unhinged, and it is. At this point, he's not hinting at anything. He's telling you exactly what he plans to do. Talking about they're going to be living in hell. Listen, we are way past the negotiation stage. With rhetoric like that, there will be no peaceful ending to all of this. Listen, there's no choice but more escalation. There's just no choice but more escalation.
Well, I don't think that MAGA voters either appreciate being called foolish or, you know, back when the Epstein file situation was happening, the president called them stupid people for even questioning or wanting answers. So I see that being a problem there. I do think that moderates and independents and those who are just looking for their government to work are not impressed by this language or this behavior, quite frankly. I mean, when you're talking about blowing up bridges and power plants, you're talking about potentially violating the Geneva Convention. And so
yeah, he's talking about doing war crimes on wax. Trump is banging on wax, talking about doing war crimes, potentially hitting citizens, power plants, bridges. What the hell? That is terrorist attacks. Trump is literally talking about doing terrorist attacks in the public on Easter. You can't make this stuff up, y'all.
What does that mean, you know, for somebody who is, you know, tweeting these things or Truth Socialing these things and then reiterating it at a Easter egg roll in front of children, you know, the very next day. So I don't think this is an impressive stance by the president, given the fact that his approval is so low. And I would encourage and hope to see more members of Congress call this out and maybe privately have conversations with him, asking him to appear more, responsible about what's happening, because this is a very big deal and he's being a little flippant about it.
Well, in terms of calling him out, Julie, Senate Minority Leader, Chuck Schumer said in response to Trump's post, here it is, Happy Easter, America. As you head off to church and celebrate with friends and family, the President of the United States is ranting like an unhinged madman on social media. He's threatening possible war crimes and alienating allies. This is who he is, but this is not who we are. Our country deserves so much better.
Now, I want to also say this. Easter is a pagan holiday, so he's doing exactly what the pagans would do. He's reveling in madness. So, I know there's a lot of Christian viewers that may be tuning in, but let me be clear about this. The Bible speaks against these holidays. It's a tradition of men. Easter gives reverence to Estra, the Greek goddess of fertility. On that day, they would actually have orgies. And then 9 months later, around Christmas, they would sacrifice the babies to Horus. So that's what Easter is really about. So it's no surprise that Trump is raving like a maniac on Easter, because, this is when the freaks come out, the weirdos and freaks like Trump. One of the highest names mentioned on the Epstein list. I can expect him to let his demons show. I can expect him to be on demon time on Easter. Yep. And somebody said it in the chat. Jesse Green said the loudest ones are the weakest. That's what I'm saying. The ones who got to put out all that fluff and that tough Tony talk be the ones that just ain't built like that. Straight up.
I mean, Schumer offering some pretty straight talk there. Yeah. So is that enough for Republicans, rather Democrats?
Look.
Somebody said Schumer on the list too. He probably is. I don't care. All of them probably on the list. But let's go.
I was just in Asia last week, and I can tell you that I had waiters in Seoul, South Korea, come up to me on 2 separate occasions and say to me, we know this is not you. Unprompted. Really? A waiter came up to me and said, welcome, we're so happy to have you here. In very broken English said, but your president rolled his eyes. And then he said, oh, but don't worry, we know that's not America. It's not America. This man does not represent anything about this country. To say what he said, praise be to Allah, in that kind of pejorative way. Right. I
mean, praise be to Allah. Yo, Trump is a character, y'all. Trump is a character. And, I'm going to disagree with the commentators. She says that this doesn't reflect America. I disagree. This is exactly what America is about as a whole. This is exactly what America is about. Trump is just a mirror of America. Slothful, entitled, radical, unhinged, barbaric, prideful, arrogant. No, he embodies America. So, I mean, a lot of people clutching their pearls, acting like they don't know that this is Babylon. But Babylon is starting to crack at the seams. So it ain't no surprise when leadership start tweaking. Trump is really mad because America's going out of business. Yeah, you're looking at another show of The Apprentice, 2026 version. Like my man Jametra one-on-one just said.
It's just, it is so antithetical to who we are as a nation. It is so disrespectful to the Muslim community of this country. It is so disrespectful to the Christian community of this country to do this on Easter, to drop the F-bomb and effectively to say this. And when you have people from across the world say to Americans when they're traveling, we know this is not who you are, after a while, you got to start wondering, is this who Congress thinks we are? Is this who Republicans in Congress believe that we are, because they're not calling this out publicly. You have a few people like Don Bacon and others, but I mean, you don't have the Speaker of the House or the Senate Majority Leader come out and say, you know what, enough is enough. This is not about the war. This is about how this president is choosing to prosecute this war. This is not who the United States is, and we're going to stand up for this country. And I'm
Well, y'all need to start. If you're going to stand up for the country, you need to do it by protest, if that's what you really want to do. But we know Americans are not going to do that. Obviously, Americans, they don't understand public outrage anymore. If we can see that they're eating children in the Epstein files, and you're not really seeing people burn down their idol gods, their Baal statues, that's all over America. There's satanic buildings that's all over America. There's statues that's all over America. Then, people are not really outraged, because all of the sacrifice that happened with the young ones, it was to those idol gods. That's why you see them burning Baal and Moloch in other countries, because they were outraged. And if any of their world leaders in Saudi Arabia or anywhere in the Middle East, for that matter, got caught up in them files, they got dethroned and destroyed. Other countries understand what outrage is. America, if let me explain something to y'all, right? If the Epstein files would have been in any other country, the people would have tore that to shreds. The people would have been all in the streets. Not no fake No Kings protest. I believe the No Kings protest is artificial intelligence. Because it ain't no way if it's millions of people marching, ain't nothing getting broke up. Ain't no fatalities. It ain't nothing being damaged. I believe it's false. And nowhere in America are we riding around seeing millions of people marching. It's just not happening. Americans are chilling while all hell is breaking loose and the rich get richer. America's chilling. That's why it's cracking at the seams. But let's go.
waiting for them to do that, and I'm going to hold my breath for a very long time because they're not going to.
And you have to wonder how long Americans will be given that kind of grace,
Exactly
though,
right.
as Donald Trump.
Ooh, I think they said something key. Let's go back a little bit.
They're not going to.
And you have to wonder how long.
They're going to stand up for this country, and I'm waiting for them to do that, and I'm going to hold my breath for a very long time because they're not going to.
Oh, so she know what the hell's going on. She waiting for the people to do something too, but they're not. They're not.
Say, you know what? Enough is enough. This is not about the war. This is about how this president is choosing to prosecute this war. This is not who the United States is, and we're going to stand up for this country. And I'm waiting for them to do that, and I'm going to hold my breath for a very long time because they're not going to.
And you have to wonder how long Americans will be given that kind of grace,
Exactly
though,
right.
as Donald Trump perpetuates his behavior over the next certainly 2.5 years at least. So let me stick with you because this all comes as the president is asking for, what, $1.5 trillion for the Pentagon's budget next year.
He's still begging for money because of this war. And it's really coming out of our pockets. But let's continue.
That is a 40% increase from what was approved for this fiscal year. That budget then would cut over $70 billion from domestic programs. That includes the elimination of key federal health, housing, education programs, which, by the way, serve minority groups largely and the poor. And it almost seems like Trump is just handing on a golden platter to Democrats something that they can run with. Are you confident Democrats will do that?
Of course they are. And then the Democrats are going to try to pacify us, and they're not going to solve any of the issues either. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. We got Donald Trump going on Easter Sunday, and instead of spreading a message of peace, instead of unity, he's talking about destroying power plants, bridges. He's talking about Iran living in hell. And a couple days before that, he threatened to send Iran back to the Stone Age. Imagine that, where Iran is 5,000 years old and America's only a few hundred years old. America really thinks it has the capability. Donald Trump believes he has the capability of sending Iran to the Stone Age. What an idiot. And you could tell that imbecile in the White House don't study history at all, don't know nothing, don't know what he's talking about. He's putting the whole country on a crash out mission. You know, this man went on social media and basically told Iran, you open a strait or there will be nothing like what's coming. That's not negotiation. That's high level pressure. That's that narcissistic type of pressure. But all of these MAGA folks and different individuals keep saying, see, they keep saying, people, we got to trust. We just got to trust the process. No. There's a difference right now. There's already an active conflict. Oil supplies involved. And right now in America, the global economy in general, it's just fragile. It's fragile. It's the wrong move, I'm telling you.
Well, I'm confident that Americans are so furious at Donald Trump that they're coming out to vote in droves just to send a message to him. That's very different from Democrats being able to run with a positive affirmative message, which sometimes they're more successful at doing than others. But I do think that this is going to be an incredibly bleak election for Republicans because they continue to hang with him. I mean, look, Mike Lawler is in a very, you just talked about Mike Lawler last segment. Mike Lawler is in a very, very, very tenuous situation right now. And yet, even he's not out there being able to say affirmatively, look, this is not good for my constituents. I mean, there's not anybody, I believe, in his district who thinks that giving $1.5 trillion to the Pentagon is good for them.
Which you would think would be justification for lawmakers to speak out. Say, look, it's my constituents. Hey, it's not me, but it's my constituents.
They're terrified of primaries.
I thought the Pentagon was called the Department of War now. The Pentagon is now considered the Department of War. So, you know, that's all Trump wants is war funding. Once they changed the name to the Department of War, we should already knew what type of time they was on. The Pentagon, also known as the pentagram, because these people are Satanists and occultists.
They're terrified of bad tweets. They're terrified of being maligned by this president. And, you know, after a while, you should start fearing your constituents more than the president.
You know, Maura, the GOP claimed before the election that Trump-Vance was the pro-peace ticket, and they even tweeted it out just days before the election. And now they're asking for $1.5 trillion in defense spending, partially because they need to restock munitions.
So they just I'm telling you, Babble on Babylon. Vote the pro-peace ticket. Vote Trump-Vance. Do y'all see this? What do the Bible say? When these people scream peace and safety, know that sudden destruction cometh about. Ain't that what the Bible tell you? Just days ago, they put out a pro-peace ticket. 1 minute is not a war, it's just a military. It's just a military excavation. They try to word it real weird, right? Next minute, oh, you know, I think I'm gonna fall back. I'm gonna fall back on Iran because we got enough oil. We have so much oil. We don't know what to do with the oil. We have oil. We don't need the strait. So I'm considering leaving them alone. And then the next day, 3,000 troops are stationed in the Middle East to possibly go into a ground war. Don't you see the hypocrisy of America? While meanwhile, on the other side, when you look at WION or you look at any world global news, they're consistent. Every day we getting something different. Bumbling fools, babble on Babylon. Yeah, they going on a military excursion. It's just an excursion. Anything but the word war, right? No, it's not a war. We can't call it a war. But then I'm going to turn your country into a hellhole. It's going to look like Hades over there when we done with it. And we're not even aiming at military. No, we're going to aim at bridges. So I guess when Bibi Netanyahu said that evil can overcome good, I guess they think it's okay to just go ahead and start, taking out citizens. I guess they believe that that's okay. They're taking a philosophy of Genghis Khan over Jesus Christ, and they proved it by the disrespect on Easter. Although we know the rabbit hole is deep, and we know that Easter's pagan, and rabbits laying eggs don't got nothing to do with Jesus. But nonetheless, they showing you that they don't even respect their own holidays. Ain't no peace coming with this type of talk. There will be no negotiations. It's going to escalate. We're going to be at war for years now. Believe that.
$1.5 trillion in defense spending, partially because they need to restock munitions because of this ongoing war. Will Republican voters see this as a bait and switch?
I think Republican voters are going to be wondering, where are those promises made, promises kept for what's happening here in the United States? I think when you look at those numbers, people can't conceptualize that kind of money and that kind of money being thrown around and not having any accountability for it. I mean, we're hearing reports that the State Department has been giving Trump's Board of Peace money. Where does that money go? What does that do?
What the hell is the Board of Peace? Ain't gonna be no more peace on this earth. I mean, you got to look at this. When you have a speech like that, whatever type of peace talk is off the table, because everything he said is tied to real world consequences. Everything Trump said is tied to real world consequences, y'all. Hold on.
I think there was a real sense of, the president told them that he was going to be this accountability, drain the swamp, all these things that we continue to hear, but yet we are adding and adding and adding, and people don't know where that money is going. And so for the American people who are struggling with their grocery costs, gas prices are high, this is problematic in a lot of ways. And to Julie's point, is going to continue to show up in the election as we get closer to the midterms, especially.
Absolutely. Look, I'm going to tell y'all like this. When you threaten, let me just explain it this way. Hold on, let me get this screen right. I got the multitask here. Look, when you first of all, when you shut down the Strait of Hormuz, it did the economy some serious damage. Now gas prices are going up, food prices are going up. People are already struggling. Now it's hitting even harder. And now you mix in war threats. So you got pressure on every single level right now. It's crazy. And, we going to really chop it up, because I got to show y'all what the people are saying. I got to show you what the people are saying. Because Americans know what's going on. Y'all know how we do. We take it to the political side on the news, then we take it right to the streets. And let's see what the citizens are talking about.
I just took a ride to my local mall. There's a discount store that I go to. And I'm looking around, and there's a big sign that says that the whole mall is for sale, because there's really nothing left. We just got notice that we're losing a Dick's, and we already lost Macy's and the other big stores that were in there over the years. But does anybody else feel like we're losing the United States of America? Everything is disappearing. Every store, no Zayres, no Ames, no Hills, no Sears and Roebuck, no Kmart's. What is happening? What I used to know growing up is no longer. Is this social media and AI all worth it? We, America, are disappearing.
That's right. America's going out of business. Officially. It is shutting down. 92,000 jobs gone last year. And while this is happening, what people aren't paying attention to is not only are all these storefronts shutting down, but there's an energy shift as well. You know, you got war tension rising. You know, the economy's already tight. And now you got leadership speaking all aggressively, not really even trying to calm the people down anymore. Why? Because he's panicking too. He's panicking too. Because that oil that's their lifeline. That oil is their lifeline, people. I'm telling you right now. And what we seeing, if you look at the combination of what's happening and you look at history, a major shift like this ain't no small change, man. These are moments where you're going to look back and say, this when everything started changing in America. You're going to look back in 2026 and say, I remember when everything just started changing. And you only had a few people that was pointing it out. I'm telling you. Trump is out here crashing out. Meanwhile, the country is slipping into austerity. Straight up. Hold on.
Also new at 6, problems at the pump. For the first time since the war with Iran began, we've discovered that some South Florida gas stations are running out of fuel. We found one offering just premium gasoline. CBS News Miami's Peter Dench is your reporter live in West Miami-Dade. And Peter, you spoke to an expert and drivers about the shortage.
That's right, Lauren. We can tell you it's a problem that the manager of this gas station says just started today. He says the supply is limited and he hopes this issue can be resolved soon.
This is not fair. This is not good for us.
Duperly Panzone says she was startled to find out there was only premium gasoline at this Exxon station on Coral Way at Southwest 87th Avenue. You're not going to pay for premium?
No, that is very expensive.
Reluctantly, Rachel Ruseko did pay for premium.
I wasn't expecting that. I knew the price was going really high. I didn't know that they were running out of gas.
At Southwest 9th Street and 87th Avenue, the picture was bleaker with no gasoline at all at this Shell station.
I guess I gotta go to another gas station.
It was the same story in Coral Gables at this West Star station at Coral Way and 57th Avenue.
So this is Jacksonville, Florida. Not only did I watch this go up from $3.99 to $3.29 today, but I pulled in to get some gas, but the problem is there is no gas.
That's right. They're running out of gas. And y'all got to understand, oil is the blood of the world. That's the world's blood. That's how serious this is, because it pretty much, it streamlines every economic system. It's ran through the oil. That's how serious this is. And there's a shortage. Why? Because of that Strait of Hormuz.
To every pump in the station, and they are completely out. I went inside and I asked the attendant, and he said, we're not expecting any anytime soon, quote, because of the war. I drove down the street to another gas station, and they were also out of gas. Now, granted, this is a more of a locally owned mom and pop station. I have to assume that some of the larger gas stations in the area would still have gas, but at least in Jacksonville, it's still relatively cheap, according to the national average, but we just don't have any gas to put in the tank.
So in the places where the gas is lower than the national average, there's no oil there. There's no oil there. So now we see why Trump crashing out. He's trying to push calculated pressure on Iran, you know? And, you know, we know Trump has always used shock language. He's always tried to give deadlines to Iran and high-level threats. But when you do this with other nations and you threaten to send them to the Stone Age and blow them off the map, you know, you treading on dangerous territory. Because you know why? You can't control how they're going to respond. You know what I'm saying? You just can't control how Iran is going to respond to America. And I think they're going to respond with some heat. You know, we at a point now where the economy is already stretched out. War talk keeps increasing every single day. And then all of the leadership is escalating publicly. Even though over there in Iran, they talking spicy too. They like, look, you see all of these body bags, you send ground troops over here, they leaving in them. There's no more negotiation. It's on now. You know, everybody thought it was going to be a week-long military operation. And now look, you know, and people still thinking this is normal. No, this is escalating. And if you can feel what's going on, that means you're paying attention. People think this is all about politics. Nah. It's right in front of you. They're fighting a holy war. That's why Trump disrespected Allah. And Allah's a pagan god too. So it really is how you translate what Trump said. He praised Allah, a pagan god, on pagan Easter.
So, not sure who actually voted for this, but it wasn't for me.
I tried to tell you guys about the damn gas in the gas stations running out of fuel. Look at this right here. I'm in Naples and I'm at my local racetrack, and guess what? They don't have the damn fuel. So now I gotta go to.
Someone tell me if this is normal, because we are in the Florida Keys right now. We just attended Easter morning service. We are on our way home. However, the service that we went to is about an hour from our campground. So we had to drive a ways, and we need gas on the way home. We've been to 2 gas stations that have been completely out of gas. Is this normal? Like,
hell no, that's not normal. And these videos are going out in all 50 states. People are talking about how there's no gas.
we have to get gas in order to make it back to our campground. Like, is it normal for gas stations to run out of gas in the Florida Keys?
And the crisis begins. So some gas stations in Florida have announced that they have run out of gas. In case y'all don't know, the United States does have a lot of oil, but we produce light oil, and our oil refineries process heavy oil. So we can't even process the oil we're getting out of the ground that we have. We have to send that over to other countries to process, because our plants only process the heavy oil, like from Venezuela. So now, a lot of people don't realize that the gas that we put in our car is a combination of different oils that create the gas we use. And some of those gases come from the Middle East. So we are now starting to see the crisis that's already hit Australia. Australia's already had shortages. So now it's starting to happen in the United States, in Florida. And it's going to spread because Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth have yet to actually put in mitigation measures. They never had any mitigation measures ready to go before they decided to strike Iran, knowing that they could very easily close the Strait of Hormuz. But
right, they can't even mitigate the oil they stole from Venezuela. They don't have it. You know, America never really put in a system to mitigate the oil properly. Y'all remember back in y'all remember that TV show, The Hillbillies? How many of y'all remember The Hillbillies? Where people with a guy, the hillbillies were digging in the yard and found oil, and America bought it and all of that. You know, they'll pay you for the physical oil, you know, but guess what? Americans they're not really digging for oil like that. They don't have the processing power in America to really be digging. So back in those days, people would find the oil by digging, you know. They never really set up a real mitigation system in America to get oil. That's why they go and pillage everybody else. You understand? They'll pay you for it, but they're not really doing the work to create the gas. Yeah, the Beverly Hills Hillbillies. Yep. Yep. Let's go.
Here we are. So let's hope that this doesn't hit every other city at a large rate, but it probably will, because we all depend on gas to get to work, because oil and gas companies destroyed all public transit to the point where we really can't rely on it on mass, like on heavy levels, to get us to work. So
yeah, I mean, this is what's happening right now. Hold on one moment. Let's let this play out.
We're just going to see where this goes. So I'm hoping y'all are, you know, surviving and able to put gas in your car. And
yeah, it's getting rough out here, but you know what them scriptures say. It tell you in Revelation 6:5, a measure of wheat for a penny and 3 measures of barley for a penny. So basic food is becoming more expensive. Inflation and scarcity is going to be a thing. And for the record, a penny was a day's wages at that time. So you have to, when you go into the translation, this is what it's saying, that a day's wages would be like a loaf of bread. You know, a whole day's wages would be a loaf of bread. Is what basically what that scripture is saying. And that's what it's coming to. You know, when you get down to the scriptures and what's really going on, you see it. And not long ago, the 90s, 80s, 70s, we had it all. You know, our grandparents was buying houses but they were working regular jobs. There was barbers buying houses. There was hairdressers buying houses. There were janitors buying houses back in the day, y'all. But guess what? Guess what happened? 2nd Esdras 16:21 says, behold, victuals shall be cheap upon earth. Even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. See, everybody talk about the golden era. And even then it was evil going on. But now we're in the byproduct of the evil that happened. When things seem stable on the surface. And to some degree right now, things still seem a little stable. But then suddenly chaos hits. It always seems like everything is normal before that chaos hits. That's what's going on in Babylon.
Don't eat this week because I have to take Mom to the doctor's tomorrow. If you could pick one word to describe the economy, your economy.
Let's read this book of Haggai, chapter 1, verse 6. Ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye are not fed. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put in a bag with holes. That's America right now. paycheck to paycheck. Nothing sustainable.
Your economic situation right now, under these conditions, one word to describe that: desolate.
A growing number of retired people are getting out of the recliner and heading back to work. The concept, dubbed unretirement, has them doing things like driving for Uber to help pay the bills. Many people pick jobs, if not professions, where they can get moving. Barbara Barada is a retired nurse from New Jersey who now works as a dog walker.
I decided I'd make a little extra money and I would keep physically active. So, and I love dogs and I love cats.
This concept of retirement for most people as like a cliff or a day they're working towards really isn't a reality for most.
Well, AARP says unretirement has picked up in recent years as inflation's become more of an issue.
I got a quick question for people that are living by themselves. What the fuck do y'all do for work? For money wise, like, how do you guys live by yourself? You guys live in a shitty place? I'm curious because, like, I moved out when I graduated high school, and I've been in a few different apartment complexes, some townhouses and shit like that, and other than like one other time, I've had to live with a roommate, and this shit is like, it's cool. Like, I love the people I've moved in with. You know, they're cool, we have fun, but like, there's a sense of peace, man, when you're just living by yourself. I love that shit.
Yep, but unfortunately, they set up a system where you can't really succeed by yourself nowadays. You see, all of our elders, they got to come out of retirement, go back to work. You know, there's no love for the ancient grays of hair. There's no love for those who've already established themselves, worked their 30, 40 years on a hamster wheel. They got to go back to work because retirement ain't cutting it. The 401 ain't cutting it. Social Security practically gone these days. And there's no reason why 60, 70, 80-year-old people is stressing over how they're going to pay their bills, bro. There's no reason that should be happening. They put in their work and they deserve the rest. But it shows you where America's at. There's no love. And that's why it's going through what it's going through.
And I feel like I'm never going to get that ever again, because those same townhouses that I could afford a few years ago are like $400 or $500 more. No upgrades, no changes, just straight up $400 or $500 more. I'm tired, bro. I'm tired, dude. Like what do you guys do? Like, I mean, I'll go back to selling weed if I got to, you know? Like,
and you know, that's what's happening. A lot of people turning back to crime, soliciting, whatever. And you know, of course, that ain't the direction you want to go. You know, you got to depend on the Most High for your daily bread, but also there's some other things you got to do. You have to network with like-minded people. You have to research. The Bible says my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. You have to learn how to adapt. There's a lot of money to be made out there, but a lot of people are afraid to jump off the hamster wheel. And that's what I've been trying to get people to do. People don't understand, you know, Breed, you involved with multi-level marketing, you involved with, you know, owning a travel business. You're trying to set up merchant hubs so everybody can have their own economy. Look, I'm going outside the box because the hamster wheel is not working. They've already proved that they're going to disregard me just like they did my grandparents. So why do I want to stay there when there's other ways that you can make it? There's other things you can invest in. And most of all, you should start off by investing in yourself. Sometimes you got to make yourself uncomfortable. I tell people, start a business and travel. I tell them where to enroll. New Breed Global Truth. People are hesitant. People are afraid because they don't really trust themselves and their abilities. That's the way I look at it. Our cell phones are typically $100, $200 a month. You can have your own turnkey business paying $60 a month, and it's your business. It's like you have to be willing to invest in yourself to make money. But a lot of people be afraid. And I believe that's problematic. That's why I offer solutions. Like, I see what's going on in the world. And when I look at these things, I automatically jump into, okay, what could be the solution for something like this? So, I mean, there's money to be made out. There's a lot of people making money. Don't get it twisted. They're just willing to think outside the box. They're willing to take chances. Because honestly, working a 9 to 5 until retirement and thinking you're just going to ride off in the sunset and live happily ever after in America, that's dead. That's dead. So, you know, you got to find alternative methods. You got to link up with people who know how to make some bread, how to move wise. That's right. Jeremiah 26 and 13. Therefore, now amend your ways and your doings and obey the voice of the Lord your God, and the Lord will repent him of the evil that he have pronounced against you. That's right. Now, peep what that scripture said. It says, amend your ways and your doings. You have to change. Obey the voice of the Most High. It is insanity to keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. So surely you got to try other avenues. Surround yourself with people who are exploring their options when it comes to how to survive in this time. That's real talk right there.
Like back in high school, that's how I made all my money in high school, just selling weed and selling vapes. Fuck it. You know, if I'm going to make more money selling weed, I might as well just do that shit, right? Like, this shit is like, has me really fucking thinking, bro. The whole economy got me fucking thinking to going back to selling weed from like back in high school, bro. Like, do you know how sad that is?
That is sad because he's about probably 40 years old. And you don't want to be, you know, a 40-year-old middle-aged white man going to jail for selling weed. Come on now. Come on now. But I understand what he's saying, but you don't want to do that. There's other ways. There's other ways. You just have to get the knowledge. You have to do the research. You have to absorb what's going on in the world. Like, let me give you an example. We can see that Trump spent billions of dollars in artificial intelligence, right? Guess what? You know what that means? There's going to be jobs in that field. You might want to learn how to fix robots. You might want to be a robot engineer. You might want to look into, you know, how to set up apps. You may want to take some computer science classes. You might want to, you have to adapt. You understand what I'm saying? Let me see. Country Boy says, new breed. It's pure madness out here in Babylon. I never thought in my nearly 38 years of life, I live to see the state of the world right now. It's bad. It is bad. It is bad. Yep. You know, we talk a lot about when Christ is going to return. And we used to think it'll be far off, but the way things are going, man, this thing can end any moment now. Right? That's real talk.
Like, for real. I was 16, 17 selling weed almost a decade later, and I'm thinking about doing that shit again. Yo, I hate life. I hate it.
You know, the scriptures say in 2nd Esdras 15 and 16, for there shall be seditions among men and invading one another. So just so we can get a real understanding, things are not going to go back to being quote unquote normal. There is no more normal. We knew that when COVID hit, when they started using phrases like the new norm. From that point on, you should have known it's going to be nothing but civil unrest. Governments are going to be clashing. You know, people are going to start turning on each other. People are going to start invading one another because of scarcity. There is no more new normal. You know, look, Golden Sea says she's considering Learning digital marketing. See, these are the things you just got to do. Things like that to adjust. Absolutely. Ecclesiastes 10:16. Woe to thee, O land, when thy king is a child. Hold on. What did I say? Ecclesiastes 10:16. Somebody post that. Woe to thee, O land, when thy king is a child. What y'all think Donald Trump is? That's boss baby. Trump is an entitled brat, spoiled billionaire with no world knowledge. And woe unto a land when your leader is boss baby. So now that's why you're seeing everything escalate the way it is. You got somebody who acting on impulse. You got somebody who's not emotionally stable. No emotional intelligence, no type of recourse, no dignity, no decorum. Yeah, you got a big ass man child sitting up in the White House, tweeting on Easter, talking spicy, banging on wax, while we're in the middle of a damn economic crisis, while we on our fourth industrial revolution, where jobs are being cut, and now the new revolution is AI. Yeah, our president who reads at a 5th grade level, wilding. Are you smarter than a 3rd grader? Donald J. Trump, are you smarter than a 3rd grader? Let's go.
Yo, what is really going on with this world? What is really going on in America, bro? Like, this shit making me want to just pack up and move to one of these countries that our American dollar is worth fucking $70 and $80 over there.
Yeah, that's why they got ICE stationed at the airports right now. They don't want you to do that. They don't want you to discover a life outside of America. Yeah, they don't want you to discover a life where you're not living paycheck to paycheck and you're eating real food. They don't want you to witness that, because then the entire corporation drops and all the billionaires lose their money.
This shit is fucking ridiculous, bro. This shit is fucking ridiculous. Everything, all the quality of the food, all the quality of everything has went down, but the prices has gone up. I live in New Jersey, right? Earlier today, gas was $3.99. 5 hours later, it's $4.19. What the fuck happened in the 5 hours? What happened in 5 hours where gas got to go up 21 cents? And then probably by the time I wake up tomorrow, it's going to be $4.28. Bro, like this shit is crazy, bro. The only thing that I got lucky with is I bought my house in 2021. I have a $1,300 mortgage, bro. You can't even find a motherfucking 1-bedroom box for $1,300 right now, bro. Like all the car payments is crazy, astronomical right now.
For real. Them car notes is at least $900 now. I mean, if you getting something, boy, you're paying a rent to. If you're getting anything after a 2022 vehicle, if you're getting anything after with a 2021 vehicle, right now you're paying a rent just having car and insurance. That's going to be competing with your rent. It's going to compete with your rent. Just having a vehicle. And then gas is sky high. Come on now. Come on now. Man.
You got to pay $700, $800, $900 for a fucking Toyota Camry right now. The chips, the juice, the fucking Doritos, the motherfucking, bro. They even made the paper plate smaller. They even made the paper plates to the point where you got to use 2 paper plates to fucking eat now.
Man, look, that's not even the worst. You know what's really the worst? The food is high. The food is astronomical, man. Like, you can get a bottle of coconut water about that big. That's like $7. This is a $7 bottle. But it's bad. The groceries are bad. All the oils, like cooking oils, those are sky high. But this is where they really get you. Household products. It's really I'm telling you, it's really the household products. Toilet paper. Do you know how expensive paper towels are in America? It's crazy. Literally, you paying $10, $12, $13 for 2 rolls of toilet paper. I mean, paper towels. It's really the household stuff that really add up. It'll get you. You're like, hold up. Trash bags are crazy. Box of trash bags, 39-gallon box of trash bags is like $30. You get for 15 bags, trash bags, $30. That's crazy. You know why? Because a lot of the trade and the shipping lanes have been cut off. I'm telling you. And you know, they shadow banning my stream too, y'all. They definitely are shadow banning because, you know, we putting out the truth in real time, and they be playing with the numbers over here. Like, they really be playing big time. So y'all got to get the likes up. But let's continue.
Like, this shit is crazy. This shit is crazy, bro. I make a decent pay rate and I'm still living paycheck to paycheck. I'll be lucky if I could put up $100 a fucking week. Like, this is just getting ridiculous, bro. I really feel like
See, even people who making a decent living, everybody going through it. That's why you got to be able to have different endeavors, different streams of income. You gotta be able to just invest in yourself. That's why I say, y'all, go to newbreedglobaltruth.com. Go ahead and roll and see what you can do in the travel industry. Just try it. Just try it. If it don't work for you, invest in something else. But try different things, man. Don't be afraid to try stuff. Because in order to adjust to what's happening, you got to have different streams of revenue. You need like 3 or 4 streams of revenue. That's why you see people doing Lyft. You see people doing Uber. You see people working a part-time job and a full-time job just to survive, man. But it don't even have to be that difficult. You got to work smarter and not harder. You got to work smarter and not harder, man. Everybody in here viewing should be trying to think of ways to get residual income where you can make money while you are sleeping. That's what the goal is, to have something going where you can make bread while you sleep. And I ain't talking about OnlyFans or you know, selling weed. I ain't talking about nothing like that. I'm not talking about things that require too much manual labor.
I want to just pack up, grow overseas to one of them countries. Bitch, I need to save up like 50, 60, 70,000 and go transfer that shit to another country and live like a royal fucking king. Because $50,000 out here, bitch, that shit'll be going in 3 months. That shit'll be going in 3 fucking months, bro. When you got to deal with buying food, paying for this, paying for that. The fucking electric went up. The gas went up. They charging travel fees for your gas now. Like, what the fuck, bro? The world is designed for us to fucking struggle, bro. It's designed for us to be slaves to the clock. You either got to work. You either got to, bitch, I don't know what the fuck you got to do. I think, like, right, you got to work every day, all day. You got to work, bitch, 17, 18, 19 hours a day.
No, what you got to do is invest in yourself. Work smarter. I'm telling you. Let me see here. Let me see. All right, let's go.
To make some money just to spend it all right the fuck back. I don't know how the fuck motherfuckers is going on trips, motherfuckers going on vacations, motherfuckers buying Balenciagas, motherfucker buying, like, I don't know how motherfuckers is doing that shit. I just don't. Bro, I've been working for 15, 16, 17 years straight. I make almost $30 an hour and it don't fucking matter.
That's not enough. You got to think about it. not only do you got to be, not only do you have to have multiple streams of income, but you got to be very smart with your money too. You just can't live above your means. But that's why, you know, he said something interesting. He said he don't know how people traveling and doing this, that, and the third. That's why I keep telling people get in the travel industry. Get in the travel industry. Somebody says OnlyFans market is oversaturated. Most mattress actresses don't make enough to survive. Right. That's the truth. A lot of them women go into OnlyFans thinking they about to be millionaires, and they find out they show all their nooks and crannies, get their body up, and they making $200 a month for doing all kind of unspeakable acts, all on the camera, for $300 a month. You done gave your soul up, gave your whole entire soul away, and ain't made nothing. Because just like everything else, that thing has some type of algorithm too, just like everything else. Yeah, good. Yep, they are going broke. Why? America itself is going out of business. Everything is oversaturated.
It don't matter. This shit is ridiculous. I'm ready to fucking, I don't know what I'm ready to do, but I'm ready to do something, bro. Something has to fucking give.
Why is gas $5 a gallon? And like, why do I have to pay rent? And why is rent so high? And why do I have to drive my car and get the gas that I have to get to go to the
Boogeyman. What she just did is a bit much. What she just did was a bit much. Look, we can sit around crying about it, or we can adapt. We can adapt and adjust. That's right. I like that. Old school rules, Proverbs 10:4. It says, he who has a slack hand becomes poor. Nah, you can't have no slack hand. Listen, it's not always manual labor. You got to be using this mind up here. Let me see. Country Boy says, it's almost though the rich believe they're going to hog all the wealth and all the money, and God's people will be down here suffering. God forbid. That's right. But see, what the issue is, the rich can never really be satisfied. They can never be fulfilled. And when we are unable to stimulate the economy because we're not making enough to survive, the rich become cannibalistic. They actually start self-destruction mode because there's nobody to take from anymore. The people have nothing. When the poor have nothing to eat but the rich is just put in a compromising position at that point.
job that I have to pay for rent? Why do I have to do all of that stuff? And why are you making it so fucking expensive to do it? I don't even want to get out and pump my gas. It feels like getting out and just knowing someone's gonna fucking stab you. Why would you get out? This is beginning. This is the beginning of life. What am I supposed to do forever?
I think Penelope needs to calm down. I think Penelope needs to get her mind right. She need to read these scriptures. She need to watch a New Breed Global Truth stream. But we do know, Second Esdras tell us, Second Esdras 16:37, behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack. Meaning they ain't gonna be delayed. Things are already in motion. It's already happening. A lot of people just don't see it yet. Second Esdras 5:8 says, there shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be oft sent out again. Confusion everywhere, destruction increasing, chaos becoming normal. Why? Because you have a president that just won't stop his shenanigans. I get it. Penelope tired of this ish. I get it. But she got to calm down, read this word, and see how to adjust.
It's gonna fucking worse.
Man, what the hell?
I hate this fucking country right now. I hate the struggles that middle class people have to go through.
Right. I mean, the whole America is feeling it. The whole America, everybody, middle America, everybody. The middle class may be having it the worst right now because a lot of people who've been under the poverty line, you know, they already used to, how do I word this? Anybody under the poverty line, they've already adapted. And a lot of them are already making the right moves. They're closer to doing the right thing than a lot of people. Y'all know what I mean by that? People who are living under the poverty line are more closer to learning survival techniques. A lot of these people are the ones who are actually going off grid, trying to figure out how to move when everything hit the fan. The middle class, they steady trying to hold on to a lot of luxuries. And they are afraid to liquidate a lot of their assets. So the middle class is putting in a real conundrum because they're trying to maintain something while the middle class, you got to try to maintain what you have, but at the same time plan for the future. And that's tough. Sometimes when you have little, you have less to lose. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes when you don't have much, you have less to lose, and you would actually be out of your comfort zone enough to make certain moves.
I hate having to choose between my prescriptions to make me healthy and feeding my kids. And no, I didn't vote for that fucking orange pimple. I voted for common sense and integrity.
We got to vote for the Most High, man. That's a shame where people got to make decisions like, should I get my medication or feed my children? You got to feed your children. Now you without your medication. And it's going to get worse. Violence is increasing. That's why you got a president speaking such, vicious language. Second Esdras tells us, Second Esdras 15 and 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, destroying their houses with the sword. That means there's going to be a time where it's going to be so much scarcity out here. It's going to be a lack of bread. There's going to be no more empathy. People going to turn on each other, and the violence is going to rise. You're already looking at a spiritual societal breakdown, but it's going to turn physical at some point. It's going to turn physical at some point.
But I can't afford anything right now. I'm struggling. And I know I'm not alone. I just don't know what to do anymore.
Every time I drop $200-300 on groceries and things that I need to survive, I have to keep reminding myself that it is a privilege and a blessing to be able to afford that and to be able to drop money like that. But oh my gosh, it does not make it any easier swiping my credit card and seeing that.
Yep, that's about 3 bags of groceries. It don't really take you too far. $200, $300, $400 worth of groceries do not take you far at all nowadays, especially if you have a family to feed. You know, 2 Esdras 16-18 tells us the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death. See, we at the early stages right now. The worst haven't even got here yet. This is the beginning of the economic collapse. We're just seeing the beginning of this.
It has become so expensive to be alive. It's a privilege and a blessing. It is. Yes.
Listen, this is what the scriptures tell us. Wisdom of Solomon 17:12. Fear is nothing else but a betraying of the succors which reasons offered. So what you got to understand is, although things are going to get worse, you can't be fearful. Why? People panic. People panic when they're afraid. Your fear clouds your judgment. When things start escalating in this country, a lot of people who wasn't preparing, they're going to react emotionally. They're not going to react logically. This is the reason why we have this platform over here, so we can have a consistent, concise message that we have to move logically and be very much fervent. The Bible tells you that a wise man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself. The prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself. You know, we can sit around and complain all day about how bad it is in America, but if we're not moving wisely, then look, that means we must be ready for what's to come, right? We must be ready if we just gonna sit around and complain. And the truth is, people aren't ready. They're sitting around complaining, but not doing a damn thing about it. That's just the truth. A harsh truth, but it's the truth. Let's go.
So my rent is close to $2,000. Food cost is going up. I just filled up my gas tank. It was like $48. My car payment's close to $500. My insurance is between 1 and 2. My light bill's about 2 something. My internet's 100 and something. My phone bill's about close to 100. But yet, $45,000 is too much for a single person and income. Are you kidding me? Like, at this point, I just want to live in my car.
Now, I want to be clear. When I said people are not doing anything about it, I mean, far as doing something different than what we've been doing. Something different. That's what I mean. I'm not trying to say everybody lazy and we all, that's not what that message was just now. When I say people are not doing nothing about it, what I mean is they're not thinking out the box. People don't want to come together. People don't want to network with their neighbors. People don't want to, start and build community. It's like this is the conundrum I see. People are miserable with how things work, but not understanding that we have the power to go start our own communities. We have our power to plant our own gardens. We have the power to completely leave the matrix if we wanted to. If we really wanted to, we could do it. But people have to be serious about that, very much serious-minded about that. But a lot of people are not serious about that. Just to be clear, and I know this from experience. I know this doing the type of work that I've done. So when I said that, that's what I meant. Let's go.
For like 6 months and save money. Is anybody else struggling? Like, damn, Craig, it's not that I ain't got no money. It's not that I ain't got no money. Everything's so fucking expensive. Like we have to pay to live. Not even our water's free. Unless you want to drink sink water. Ain't nobody telling if that shit's clean. It's not clean. It's not purified.
I mean, the struggle is real. The struggle is real. However, this is the product of Babylon. You know, the people continue to struggle because, you know, you got a president who's a raving lunatic. For those who don't know, he went on Truth Social and went on a Mike Tyson style rant. He said he was going to turn Iran to a hellhole on Easter. And then he said, praise be to Allah. He was hurling all type of obscenities, threatening them, giving them ultimatums, talking about what he's going to do if they don't open the Strait of Hormuz. You know, look, Babylon. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to stay locked in. We're going to continue to build with one another, all the like-minded brothers and sisters. Y'all know how to touch bases with me. Follow me on Instagram at NewBreed404. You know, join me in my travel business and start your own travel business. Let's become partners at New Breed Global Truth. Go ahead and enroll. Start a business and travel. Also, you know, just support the work. Support, you know, what we got going on. If you need natural products, you already know where to get those, HebrewCare.com. And I want to thank each and every one of y'all, man. If this was a good one, let me know by hitting the like button or putting a flame emoji in the chat. If this was a stream that really opened your eyes, if you perhaps didn't know what was going on Easter, you didn't catch the news, but I got you updated. That's right. Shay Love says Babylon is going down. It truly is. Yeah, Trump had a whole temper tantrum. I don't know what happened. I don't know. He just wilded out. He wilded out, y'all. Yeah, but let's let the righteous come together. All right, I see the flame emoji. So, okay, I know it. I know that y'all like this type of material, and I'll keep it up. I will keep y'all informed. Well, I want to say peace and blessings to everybody. And y'all have a good evening, y'all. Stay safe out there. One love. I touch